What's up, guys? Today we're going to be going over the new dungeon SMG, the No Survivors, which is one of the best SMGs in the game for PvE now. It is a 750 RPM solar one. 750s are my favorite, and it comes with some very good rolls for PvE. So in this video, we're first going to be going over how to farm this weapon along with all of the dungeon weapons, then going over the best perks on the left and right, and overall what the role is that you need to get. So first, how do you get this weapon? Well, if you're familiar with farming dungeon weapons, it's gonna be just the same as all the previous dungeons. You need to first unlock the gear by doing your first clears of the week. And once you do that, you can farm encounters. And the first boss, which is the second encounter of the dungeon, drops all 4 of the weapons along with, I believe, gauntlets and class item. So you can go ahead and farm that. And the way you do that, just like everything else in the game, is you have one person hold a CP on a character, drop in the fire team. Once you start flying in, you can swap to the character you actually want to farm on, rejoin them, beat the encounter, get your loot, swap back to the other character with a CP, drop them in over and over again. And that is the way you farm all 4 of the weapons. This is by far the fastest encounter in the dungeon. The other 2 are much longer. And so how do you farm this encounter very quickly? Well, what we were doing for getting to damage is I was up top with Sunbracers, dealing with the ads and the wizards, and the other 2 were going down below to get the 3 symbols to actually allow me to slam the vestiges from the wizards. And obviously, as you play the encounter more and more, you will kind of get a map of where all these symbols are. That way, the 2 people going down can just quickly get the 3, come back up, slam all 3 of the statues, and start damage. And I would definitely try to recommend the person up top be a warlock with Sunbracers. Made this room extremely easy, as you see in this gameplay. This room is like basically built for Sunbracers because there's 4 spawns, so you can just nade all 4 spawns, and it is extremely strong. So how do you one phase this guy? Well, you're gonna need a buff and debuff. So we have a well and a hunter with tether, and there's 2 things we've done to one phase. We were using rockets, just the typical 1 G-horn plus 2 hotheads. I'm not sure if hotheads the best option. I've been out of town, so I don't have the Apex Predator yet or this new dungeon one. So we're still using hotheads for now, and it resulted in a pretty easy, consistent one phase. Maybe sometimes we would have to finish off with a special, just like the last 5% of the health bar. But as long as no one's missing or someone dies, it should be a pretty consistent one phase. I've also seen people use Legend of Acreus and have pretty good success with that. So overall, whatever you use that can one phase, it doesn't matter what you're using, right? As long as you get the one phase, it works for you, that's good. Doesn't really matter. We were using rockets, are people using Acreus, whatever works. And all in all, once you get this encounter down and know where the symbols are, and you can get the consistent one phases, it's a pretty quick encounter and a pretty decent farm. So jumping into the review of this SMG, why is it so good and something you need to get? We'll start off by looking at the perks in the left. There's gonna be 3 I want to talk about in this video, and those are gonna be Demo, Discord, and Surplus. So starting off with Surplus, we all know what Surplus does at this point. It's gonna be the only traditional reload perk on this weapon, and be really good for handling and stability. So all around a very solid pick. We also have Demo, which whenever there's a primary weapon with Demo on the left, you already know that's gonna be my favorite perk and my go-to. One, because you'll never have to reload because you'll be throwing grenades, and you'll be getting those grenades back very quickly by getting final blows. Just my favorite perk in the game, as you guys know, over the past several years. This is definitely gonna be my go-to in the left. But then there's gonna be a new perk, which I haven't gone over yet on my channel, called Discord. Final blows with another weapon grant this weapon increased speed for aiming down sights, accuracy, and airborne effectiveness for a short time. When Discord is active, final blows refund ammo. So looking at that on a primary, get a kill with a different weapon, and we'll have 6 seconds of whenever we get a final blow with SMG, it will fully refill the magazine, which is obviously extremely good and extremely strong. And at first, I wasn't a huge fan of this on a primary, because when you're using a primary, generally you don't want to have to rely on some setup with a different weapon or something like that. When you use your primary, generally you're just using your primary. But I thought about it more and used it more and more, and just like previous perks in the past with Overflow, sometimes you won't necessarily have 100% uptime on this perk, but that's okay, right? You don't need to have it at all times, but when you do have it, it's obviously extremely strong. And the base reload was just a single solo reloader on this weapon is very fast. So even if you don't have Discord procced, just reloading normally is fine. But when you do have it, it's going to be obviously extremely strong, and you'll never have to reload. But is that better than Demo? In my opinion, probably not. Demo does the same thing, makes it so you don't have to reload, but also gives you grenades back. But you definitely can't go wrong with any of those 3 perks. They're all super strong and very good. Now moving on to the right column. Once again, there's going to be 3 I want to talk about: Adrenaline Junkie, Incandescent, and Collective Action. So starting off with the old classic Adrenaline Junkie, this is obviously going to pair extremely well with Demo, just with the whole synergy of getting your grenade back faster. When you throw it, you'll reload your weapon and proc the full ×5 Adrenaline Junkie, which will be 33%, the highest buff on this weapon. So obviously that's going to be an extremely strong roll, Demo plus Adrenaline Junkie, not for just Solar, but any subclass in the game, and really any build. We also have a new perk, once again I haven't talked about yet on my channel, Collective Action. Collecting elemental pickups or throwing a stray entangle grants a stacking period of increased damage. So how this works is picking up any of the subclass objects, so on Solar, the fire sprites. When you do that, you'll get a damage buff for 6 seconds, and that will be a 20% buff. And this perk comes on, I believe, not only primaries, but specials and heavies. So it being 20% for specials and heavies makes sense, and with it being only 6 seconds, there is really no excuse to ever use this on a primary. 20% only for 6 seconds, just basically every other damage perk in the game is better, right? So I wish Bungie would figure out how to independently tune these values for primaries for specials versus heavies in PvE for these damage perks that can show up on all 3. There's just no reason that this perk is a lower percent on primaries than, you know, just Rampage, Swashbuckler, Drone Junkie, whatever it is. There's just no reason to use that perk. And finally, the best perk on the right will be Incandescent, which after the Jolt nerfs, I would argue this is now again the best primary perk in the game in the right column. If you guys remember the old Callus mini tool days where that was kind of like the meta, this is obviously just as strong, and I would argue on a better SMG with better left column perks. So yeah, this thing is a beast. And this weapon also has a new origin trait which is shared between all the dungeon weapons, which is Restoration Ritual, where reviving allies or defeating combatants with finishers reloads this weapon and readies an emergency reload for the next time this weapon runs out of ammo. So there's 2 things going on there. First, when you revive someone or get a finisher final blow, it will reload the weapon, and it will have a emergency reload ready when you run out, which just means it refills the magazine for you. So that's going to be a really cool origin trait for mostly the rocket launcher. So I'm definitely looking forward to making a video on that. Hopefully tomorrow or Monday. I'm going to be super busy still the rest of this week. I'll try to get that out as soon as possible. So overall, what are the roles I've been going for on this weapon? Well, the 2 I think you need to get are going to be Demo plus Incandescent and Demo plus Adrenaline Junkie. Those are by far the 2 like god roles. But if you have surplus or discord left with either of those 2 right column perks, that is also a very good role. And I've been really enjoying this thing already with the 2 Solar Warlock builds. The first one with Sunbracers, and this thing feeds into Sunbracers really well with Incandescent, with Ember of Ashes where you apply more Scorched stacks, and also Searing where defeating Scorched targets grants melee energy. So getting final blows with the No Survivors with Incandescent will feed into your melee, making it so you can use Sunbracers more often. Then also with the Starfire Protocol build, which I think is still a very strong neutral game build. It's been working out pretty well with Demo and Incandescent, and I don't have one with Demo and Adrenaline Junkie yet, but that role would also be extremely good with both builds, because you'll be proccing the ×5 very easily, and avoid reloading with Demo and getting your grenade back a little bit quicker. So overall, this SMG is absolutely a beast and definitely worth farming. This is all around a better Callus mini tool from Season of the Haunted, a better RPM type, better left column perks, and just overall really good. So yeah, there might not be a video tomorrow because I will not be home tonight into tomorrow. I've also flown across the country and back within like a 30-hour window just on Wednesday and Thursday. So yeah, I don't even know where I'm at right now. I don't even know what day it is. But coming into Monday into Tuesday, I should have normal time like usual to play the game and get some of these roles I need. Anyways, like usual, let me know what you think about this weapon and the dungeon as a whole. Just some gameplay left. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.